Hi, people. Thank you for stopping by Building Wealth with Rajeev. This week, I moved from investing to entrepreneurship. I had an extremely good chat with Jitendra Chouksey, JC. JC founded Fitter. Fitter is one of the world's largest online fitness and nutrition community. And if you're a budding entrepreneur, JC could be a good role model for you. JC was a backbencher in school and now is looking to change the fitness landscape in India.
It was very gradual or look, I never enjoyed being a backbencher, right? And nobody enjoys being a backbencher unless you're really into that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to be uh, wants to be nobody wants to be left behind. Everybody wants to be that guy who's chased by everybody, who's being looked after, who's being called a responsible son, a good-looking guy. So I had those dreams of being that perfect me. I always had these images in my mind where I'd see a perfect version of me somewhere, but it was not there. And I think for a longest period of time, that made me feel like I was living inside of a box. So I switched from one job to another and chasing this image of me, hoping that someday I'd break out of that average um, average guy. So it all felt like I was living inside a cage. So always led to a lot of frustration. It also turned me into a bitter, angry young guy growing up. And luckily Fitter happened, and that changed my life upside down and uh, inside out. I'd say it was a complete 360 change. And I think with Fitter, what happened was I was allowed a chance, and sometimes that's all you want, right? A chance. And this chance to be that guy that I had always imagined being since my childhood. And I'm not saying that this is who I want to be, or this is the perfect image of who I've always dreamed about, but I think it's a good progress in that direction. So it's something which I always wanted as a kid, never had the means nor the source. With Fitter, the means presented themselves, the source, and with the knowledge to change your body, change your mind. I think I couldn't have asked for anything better. So just can call it sheer luck, or just
I
like
think
your
thing,
dreams.
thing which comes to my head is, did Fitter happen first, or did some kind of a realization happen in you first and then you started Fitter, or it happened simultaneously?
Look, I was at the brink of a like I was at the precipice, right? I was a brink of a mental breakdown, you could say, before 2013. And when I came here, I got the news that I was going to become a father. I think a lot of things were very, very clear to me that time is running out. And while I was trying to be this good husband, good father, I was also desperately craving, how do you say, like I just wanted to do something for myself, for my family. I think this desperation was showing in everything. I suddenly became so much passionate. I was going to the gym. I was giving my 100%. I was, if I was sitting and doing something, I was just trying to do my 100%. And then my back injury happened,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
And
heard about that.
yeah, so it's not really an injury. It's a long lasting
Yeah.
thing. It's an irreversible condition called osteoarthritis of the spine. So eventually your bones degrade, and so it just got worsened after I participated in a contest, and that put me to bed. And I had this amazing amount of energy stored in, and I was already doing so well, and I started getting some followers on social media. It just seemed like, look, I've just started my journey after years of desperation, and this is what has happened to me. And I think I just didn't want to be a sorry guy sitting and feeling bad for myself. So I started writing this booklet. I used to help people even when my back was injured. And out of that desperation, out of that excitement that was within me during that time, I wrote that book called Get Shredded, and I finished it one single sitting. So I sat and wrote this book, I think, in a matter of 15 to 20 days. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but I remember that it didn't took me a lot of time. because I was just sitting and writing. And my wife asked me, why are you doing this? You are a working professional. Shouldn't you be focusing on your work, getting back to work? I'm like, baby, don't ask me. I just have this hunch that this is something extremely important and I have to do. So, it happened. And then kind of when that happened, and then the book got out and a lot of people started downloading it and people started thanking me that JC, you're doing something amazing. And what's next? What's next? So sometimes, when you are not prepared for the answers because you've never asked yourself those questions and somebody else asks, you have to find out the answer. So when everybody started asking JC, what's next? I had to come up with an answer, because they had a question. And I think it's that, right? So people asked me if JC is going to do this. And that's exactly what I did. So I wasn't doing something. People were asking me what you're going to do. And some were even suggesting that maybe this is what he's going to do. And so, I just went with what felt like the most appropriate answer at that time. So continued building the community, continued helping the people. At some point of time, people asked if I could train them, and I didn't want to do it. But then this idea of, instead of me training, educating a few coaches, and then those coaches training people, it just made sense.
What were some of the challenges you faced in terms of, let's say when you were small and now you were a certain size, what were the challenges then? Then you grew, then there are challenges. Now you will scale up further, there will be challenges. What comes to your mind? Talk about something which you really faced, which really struck to you.
I think I wouldn't call them challenges. I would say that it's a phase, an important phase, because no matter how much you think you move on, and then you look back and you're like, dude, I was so dumb. I was so stupid for thinking that way. And that's exactly happens with me. I think when I look back 5 years back, some of my old LinkedIn posts about investors, about how I thought, things would happen and how were not happening the way they should. And then I gradually, grow. I realized, look, there was a logic. It's just that I was not capable of understanding those things at the time. And I was bitter then. And so I think everyone goes through these phases, and these phases are helpful because they make you realize how much you don't know. And I guess I'm still in one of those phases where I just keep realizing every day how much I don't know and how much there is to learn. So for me, it's really important to, keep journaling whatever I'm going through on a regular basis. And then, it also serves as a good benchmark to see how far you have come as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a husband and a father and a good son, right? So I've set benchmarks for everything, and I'm extremely competitive, right? So I don't want to settle down on, let's say, I'm not saying I'm chasing perfection, because that's again like a lie, but I'm saying I have to get better at everything, and that's just how it is. I'm extremely competitive.
You're very bullish on fitness industry, aren't you? I mean, I keep reading. You think it's going to be the next big thing. I mean, it's already quite big, but
I think again, it's demand and supply. I think I'm able to see problems in my industry, and I see that billions of people, and specifically more than 2.2 billion people, right, are suffering from lifestyle diseases, and we know that these are lifestyle diseases, which means that you can control them with medication, but unless until you fix your lifestyle, you will continue to have them. So there's no solution except fixing your lifestyle, and fixing your lifestyle requires behavioral change. And this behavioral change can only be imparted through societal change. And for that, you'll probably have to find people, who can form a society around you. So build a community around you, and then people who will walk you through this behavioral change. The personal coaching industry, that way, I feel, is really important. It's growing. And it's not just personal coaching, you see the whole industry around mentorship has grown. So what are mentors? What are teachers? If you see companies like, Byju's, they are having mentors, they are having coaches, educators online, right? So what are educators or teachers? Teachers or educators are people who've been there, done that. They understand something and they teach you, they pass forward, right? So it's all about information. So we don't think our coaches are any different from teachers, right? Because they're teaching you something that you don't already know. So industry overall about mentorship is growing, where we learn from another person's expertise. Right. So fitness industry is also going through similar kind of a change shift. People are no longer regarded as just personal trainers in the gym. Our coaches are, considered as mentors or teachers.
They are. They actually are. They behave like that. I've
Yeah,
experienced that.
yeah, and that cannot happen unless until you give that due respect to the job, where these guys walk away with, almost a commission structure or pay structure, which is par or even better than some of the industries, right? And then when that happens, everybody turns their heads and they start looking at, oh, look, these guys are in fitness industry. How is it possible that fitness coach is making X amount of money? In IT for 20 years, I'm not making this amount of money. And so it turns heads. It turns heads and it gets people curious. And then you are not only fixing things which are broken in the fitness industry, you're also evangelizing it, right? Which is just part of the job. That's what I think was the key driving factor, which actually drove Fitter in this direction where it is today. Evangelizing along with fixing the problems which existed, not just for the customers, but for the coaches.
You were a squat, right? And then you pivoted to fitter.
Yeah.
And when that happened, the idea which came to my mind is, why is he doing it? And I thought that you probably wanted to widen your brand appeal. For squat, you might be just a weight related company, but when you pivot to fitter, you probably can go into, I think you've started something else. You're becoming a broader fitness company rather than. Was that the thinking, or?
It's kind of that, I'd say it was along the same lines. A lot of people couldn't even pronounce it well. So a lot of people said squats instead of squats. And a lot of people didn't know that squats was exercise. I said, look, we are in a country where people don't even know that squats is exercise, let alone, spell it properly. It does not make sense for the company to be forever known as squats. Also, the more I thought about it, as I thought it's a pretty weird name. And I said, look, let's change it to something which everybody can spell properly. There's no way you can spell fitter wrong. You can't pronounce it wrong. Like everybody can say fitter because it's so easy on the lips, right? It's a short word. And first we thought, let's go ahead and call it fitter, F-I-T-T-E-R. And then I checked, the domain wasn't available. I said, okay, what's the next best thing that's available? I said, okay, fitter, F-I-T-T-R is available. And both are spelled the same way. So whether you say fitter with an E, one sec, whether you say fitter with an E or fitter without an E, both sound the same. So I said, why the hell not? Let's just call it fitter. And progressive, because it was not fit.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
So no matter how fit you were, you can always get fitter. And so with this thought in mind, we changed the name to Fitter. Community and social media, or community or a followership, right? A community is like an organism, and this is something which I heard from Brian Chesky from the guy who founded Reddit. So I had the opportunity to listen to him during my Y Combinator batch, right? So this is something he said, and I related with him, and he said community is like an organism. It takes its own shape. It behaves like a real person. And when I look back in retrospect, I saw that this is exactly what's happening with the Fitter community. I mean, we did start it off with something. We started off with universal principles and one goal, one philosophy. But then how it shaped in the last 5 years, it was not in our control. And that's why it's extremely difficult to build an organic community. Because you grow with the community. You as a person are responsible for sowing the initial seed. But when the tree grows, you can't control where the branches will branch out or in which direction or which shape the branches will take. And that's exactly what happens with a community. So it follows the trunk, the leaves and the branches will go and take their own shapes. And
That's the beauty.
that's the beauty of the community.
Yeah.
Because that's unpredictable, and unpredictable is basically kind of a moat. It's
Yeah.
also good business,
Yeah.
because today no other fitness company can, buy their way into a community. They'll
Yeah.
have to build one, and they don't know how.
Yeah. No, I think this is a very fascinating topic for me because, and again, thanks again for triggering that thought in me when I read your article. Uh, it's the power of community is still not understood, or it's not understood by all. People go for control over community, but if community is executed well, it can lead to transformations not seen in the control system.
Yeah.
And but it depends, JC, I think. But if you want a community to succeed, you have to be very credible yourself. That is what I've noticed.
Look, I mean, of course, again, using a cliche line, if you put an apple seed in the ground, you can't expect an orange tree to grow out of it. It'll be an
Yeah.
apple tree, different shape, different size, but it'll be an apple tree. So I think when you look at Twitter community, it's somehow, I believe that, I sowed the seed, and it
Mm.
has some of my characteristics, some of my DNA.
Mm.
Until this date, people do see me as the guy who started the Twitter community, right? And again, I envisioned this community on my insecurities, right? The things that I faced in the past, uh, from being bullied to, being shot, to so many things, right?
Mm.
So I said, look, I went through all those things. What if there was a community
Mm.
which took care of me growing up? And that's exactly
Mm.
what Twitter community is. So it came from a very deep personal experience,
Mm.
right? And so that's why, you can say that the community is the way it is, and so you can say
Mm.
that, it reflects some of my personal characteristics, some of my personal traits.
So what's the vision? What's driving you right now, and what do you want to accomplish?
Fit society, fit society, a driven society, a society which is more progressive,
Mm.
and a society which is, not at the mercy of, food, a society which sees food as food.
Mm.
And I think a society which is just and fair, with both a healthy body and a healthy mind. So
Mm.
that's, and I think a healthy body is just a starting step for you to
Mm.
become a better version of you. I refer to WHO's definition of health. They say health is not merely the absence of a disease. That's a
Mm.
very outdated definition. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So without a
Mm.
complete physical, mental, and social well-being, you cannot call yourself healthy as per
Mm.
WHO, right? So naturally, what is one of the easiest thing to attain, as a fitter physical self? Because again, a lot of people have said before, that you can't have a healthy mind and an unhealthy body, right? So the first thing is body, because it's hygiene. Also,
Mm.
it's it's so easy. It's crazy that it's so easy, right? It's the easiest thing in the world to get fit.
Mm.
It's the easiest thing, and that's what we are trying to tell people. Look, it's the easiest thing. So forget
Mm.
about all these, mental thing and the social thing. First, you clean your body, just like you
Mm.
clean your teeth and take a shower every single day.
Mm.
You take a shower and brush your teeth before applying a deodorant or a perfume.
Mm.
Why? Because you know that that's more important. It does not make sense for you to not take a bath and then apply a deodorant and a perfume. Correct?
Mm.
So get the hygiene right. So
Mm.
first, focus on your body. Get rid of all the physical ailments, especially when it's so easy. Why shouldn't you? It's just a matter of eating right and exercising every single day, and then
Mm.
let time heal itself.
Mm.
Let time heal your body, and it will heal.
Mm.
Right? So you
Mm.
take care of your physical self. The mental
Mm.
transformation happens automatically. And then once you have your physical and mental transformation in place, when your
Mm.
physical and mental health is hand in hand, your social transformation happens automatically.
What's your take on your competition? Look, I don't follow anybody else. In the fitness
Yeah,
industry in India, I'm just following you.
sure.
And what's your take on your competition?
Now, look, we have a very different TG, as compared to, and we have competition in India. We have Healthy Me, we have Cult, and we have a long list of new companies which are coming up. I'm not aware of any business which is as large as Healthy Family and Friends. So I'd consider these as a primary competition. I think the market in India is huge, even worldwide, it's huge. So at this point of time, it's not even worth looking at what competition is doing, because the market needs constant innovation. It's not a saturated market. You go to US, you go to some European countries, or probably Australia or UK, and then you realize that the market is saturated with different ideas, and so you'll have to innovate. I'm saying in India, even the ground level innovation is not there, right? So there's a huge scope for people to continue innovating. And the worst thing you can do or kill your innovation is by looking at what your competitor is doing. Because your competitor is also not capturing a large size of the market. Or are you? So the only way you can capture a large size of your market, or probably a market leader, is when you innovate, which those guys haven't. And so you can't look at them. So one thing we categorically avoid to do is look at these guys and see what they're doing. And that just the focus is, look, we are doing good. How can we do better? Right? Or this is what we have done. This is what's working. How is it going to change in the future? How people are. So I think our competition in real terms, it's not really Healthy Family and Cult. It's the lifestyle companies which are spoiling the lifestyles of people. And it's funny, because if you see how a hardworking, a very fit population went from being fit to very, very unfit and unhealthy in a matter of, let's say, 50 odd years. And you look at companies like McDonald's, you look at Pizza Hut, you look at Swiggy, you look at Zomato, and then you can't just help but admire the way these people grab people's imagination and force them to eat this unhealthy food. And the people are just wanting it more and more, right? So our competition is with these guys. So the idea is, look, we are going to chase for the same customer, the same guy who's sitting at home, and there's two things in his mind: should I start eating out, or should I order something from one of these food delivery companies? Our idea is, let that guy make a decision to join Fitter and get fit, rather than order crap from outside, right? So our competition is these guys. They are brilliant at their marketing. We have to get better than them.
Plan to pivot to holistic health, and
I mean, look, we do believe that mental health is extremely important, and we are coming up with some, so we have been doing webinars on mental well-being.
I heard that.
Yeah. But so far, we haven't come up with a model where we can provide quantifiable outcomes to customers. And without providing some sort of a quantifiable outcome where, let's say a score-based system where it analyzes the change in thinking, or maybe, their motivation levels or happiness or lifestyle change, it would be just a far-fetched, how do you say, hypothesis that the system is doing something. How would it be any different from just peer-to-peer counseling? So you need to come up with something. We need to come up with something which is more of a system, rather than just having mental wellness coaches, just like you have startup mentors, and we know how much helpful they are. By the way, they are, right? So don't go for startup mentors.
And I saw that on. I think you posted on this as well. So
yeah. So don't be that coach who says you're gonna do X amount of stuff, Y amount of stuff. You take tons of money, and then you're like, where's my X, where's my Y? So you have to come up with a quantifiable output metric. And without this quantifiable output metric, everything is just
voodoo science.
It's voodoo. It's voodoo. Yeah, that's the right word. It's voodoo.
Hi people, I hope you enjoyed the content. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, press that bell icon, and do write your comments. They mean a lot to me. We'll chat soon. Until then, keep building, keep smiling, and keep hustling. Thank you.